So I always find it interesting for a songwriter. Like, it's one of the hardest things to be successful at, because when you finally find success, for you, it's with my list. Now, obviously, you want to be successful again, but you can't write the same song a second time. So, like, what's it like now trying to find that second success? Like, are you right back at it, or are you kind of living the song first before you move on to the next, or what?
You mean in those days?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh no, dude. I think the day after the number one party, I was back at it.
yeah.
Like I listened to all the older guys ahead of me who said, one, it's an everyday job, and two, now some people don't see it that way, but a lot of the guys I did wrote with, they did, and two, man, I thought, having been in sales, I thought you have to strike while the coals are hot. And so I wrote every day. And then, I ended up with shortly, I got signed to, Toby closed that company after, I want to say, like 2 years. But I got signed pretty quick to a company called Windswept Pacific.
Hmm.
And then I was there for 3 years and I had 8 or 10 cuts. I had a top 10 on a guy named Bucky Covington. And then I had a top 10 on Trace Adkins called All I Ask For Anymore. So at this point, I'm starting to go, okay, man, this is not just validating. I actually think I'm decent at this. Although my friend Steve Bogard said every time he gets a hit, he goes, well, I fooled him again.
Yep.
But I think the imposter syndrome is very real. However, at that point, man, I was like getting set up with A writers, and they were like, "Hey, this guy, even though he came late to the game, is good." So, man, it was good. Then I went from there. I want to say to Warner Chapel, and again, I think I was there 4 years, and I had 5 singles.
Mm.
I'd probably had 25 cuts. I mean, I'm getting cuts, but I had um, it only went like top 20, I think, but still on Rodney Atkins. And then I had Love Like Crazy on Lee Bryce. And then I had Give It All We Got Tonight with Straight. Um, and at that point, man, I was an established name. I still went at it every day. I mean, I would not do it. That's not entirely true, but I still wrote a ton, and I'm still signed, and I'm still getting. I mean, I got one on Chesney's new record, and I got one on Stapleton's new record, and one on George Strait's new record. So it doesn't suck.
Yeah, congratulations on that, by the way. Just that first hit though, does that like get you into more rooms? You mentioned being kind of more established now. Like, people know your name now a little bit more, and are they inviting you into these rooms more often now because of that?
Oh yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah,
You're only as good as your last meal cooked, and when you have a 5 week number one song, you go from being nobody.
yeah,
I mean, dude, when I say nobody, I mean nobody. To all of a sudden, people go, well, he must have something. Whether that's really accurate or not, I don't know.
yeah.
I just know that again, hype is a part of the deal. So the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is once you get a hit, is to capitalize on it. And I always try to ride that wave.
What was your favorite song that ever got recorded?
Love Like Crazy is definitely like top two. I wrote a song, my buddy Rivers Rutherford, who's in the Hall of Fame, and wrote a song with Darius Rucker called So I Sang, and it's on the album called Southern Style, which Rivers and Darius and I also wrote that, the title track. The album didn't do anything, man, which is super unfortunate, but it is what it is. Um, but that song is one of my favorite songs. It was the song that I started after my dad passed away. Like, why am I doing this? And then I realized, like, even though I played sports, I was like, man, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the smartest, I'm never going to be a doctor or a CEO. So I sang, and
Yeah.
that's what I did. And I still I love I still love the process. I don't know that I love the business as much as I did, but that's just part of getting older, man.
Yeah, of course. So you mentioned imposter syndrome. This is something we talk a lot about on this show. It's a common thing in the creative business, as I'm sure you know. Um, as you're having more success, more cuts, more singles, you've got number ones, you've got Grammy nomination, and all of this other stuff. The imposter syndrome's still there, isn't it? It still hangs around, even with all the success.
Oh man, I mean, to this day,
Yeah,
like I still have days where I go, I just don't know, man. I don't know. Excuse me, but I mean, I wrote a couple times last week with some younger people, and they were just like, "Man, you are so good at this." And in that moment, to be honest with you, I go, "Yeah, I do. I know what I'm doing." But I think the ultimate validation in any job is to be successful. And the way that I am deemed to be successful or not is only if somebody else makes the decision to make me successful.
right.
In other words, I have to have an A&R person go, "Oh my gosh, I love this," and then they have to go to a A&R staff meeting and go, "Oh, they love it." Then they have to go to the artist. Like my friend that's in A&R said, "Hey man, I'm nothing more than a glorified song plugger because I have to go to artist and then go, 'Oh my gosh, you have to hear this.'" So yeah, man, I definitely at this stage of the game, I do feel like yeah, I'm good at it. Um, uh, and again, I'm still miraculously, I would say, getting cuts. Um, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as they let me.
Yeah, and this leads me into the book, which I'm hoping I can pick up a copy of from you. It's called "Going Crazy: Left Foot, Right Foot, Breathe," and this is essentially your response to that imposter syndrome, right? Left foot, right foot, breathe. You tell yourself that a lot
Every day, dude.
every day, right?
Um, man, let's see. Yes, I have been through two divorces. The first one certainly was justified. The second one, I don't know to this day, but that's not to be a part of the show. I lost my older brother 2.5 years ago, two of my best friends in the last 5 years. So I started writing that, Chris, when about 8 years ago, when life was great.
Yeah,
Like I had two daughters, I still have two daughters. And we lived out in the country on this beautiful place, and I was like, man, this life has turned out to be just so freaking good. It's amazing. And I started writing it just to say, like, if you stay the course, you too can do this. And I just told my story. My story has a lot of different twists and turns. It's not just pharmaceutical sales to songwriting. There's a ton of different things. Quit college, kicked out of college, go to LA. When I got to LA, I got mugged like severely. So I had 12 stitches from here to here. I
wow.
had my jaw wired shut for 20 weeks. I had stitches in my chin. So, getting over that, past the PTSD of that, and then losing, brother, and then yada yada yada. So what I started doing with that book was just writing because work begets work. So I'm just writing they're very short chapters as not to bore the listener. And man, I would just write a chapter at night. And then I started doing it. And the more I did it, the more I went, yeah, I think I'll noodle on that tonight.
Yeah,
So it really runs the gamut from me like saying, this is my story and this is how I got started. And this is when I went to college and then I got in trouble and then I went to LA. And then it actually goes back through, to post divorce the second time, which has been 5 years ago, and my brother, and so forth and so on. So the title stemmed from me saying to myself, there's times I think we all, especially creatives, feel like we're going crazy.
yeah,
And my buddy that lives in Atlanta, I was talking to him one night and he just said, "Brother, all I got for you is left foot, right foot, breathe." And that was 7, 8 years ago. And so when I wrote it and I decided that would be the title, I thought the subtitle should also be redeeming in some way, which is, just keep going, man. And it's not easy, dude. I don't care what anybody says. It's nothing about it is easy, as you and I discussed prior to going on the air, elderly parents
hmm,
and I mean, dude, it's a struggle. Now, again, I would always say I'm happy to be here. I mean, I ain't mad about that,
yeah,
but I don't. Not everybody um, has that, life where they go to college and then get out and have kids and grandkids, which that's, at my age, everybody, dude, everybody. And my kids are 20 and 16. So I just kept writing it. And yeah, I sent it to a lady in New York. And I got in touch with her through a friend of a friend. And she was like, man, I love this. We sort of co-published it together, but it's really addresses mental health, men's
Yeah.
mental health.
So was the kind of the motivation behind the book was to help people? Because I'm just curious with somebody with imposter syndrome, and I suffer from it really bad at times. I would imagine it would be really hard to kind of take that step to put your life story out there.
Yeah, I mean, my own family was like, "What in the heck are
Yeah,
you?" Um, and I just got grief about it a couple of weeks ago from somebody. But man, as a writer, all you can do is tell your truth.
yeah,
And if it's not a lie, then you have to tell your truth. So I would in no way, nor did I in my book ridicule anybody from my past. I really ridiculed myself more than anybody
yeah,
because we all make bad choices. But again, the I have a friend who not long ago was going through a rough time, and I was like, listen, your goal for tonight is to make it through tonight, and in the morning is to put your feet on the floor and just left foot, right foot, breathe. That's all you got.
yeah.
Get through the night, get through the day. The idea that every day is woohoo and sunshine and rainbows is total BS. So my take on it, and I can't say I'm not haven't been through it lately, where I have to remind myself, get up and go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part of every day for me, just trying to get myself out of bed and moving, being productive, right? Because, like, if you're not productive, then you beat yourself up for not being productive. But, like, just starting your day to be productive, it's like that's a battle in itself, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man.
It's just so
I, I
rough.
I say in my book, Chris, and I'm a huge advocate of exercise. That's what sort of kept me from going. I would say probably going off the rails. I don't. I'm not saying I don't drink. I may drink tonight, but I don't drink a ton. But exercise is my. That's really the time where I feel free of this.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. See, I have that. For me, it's music. Just listening to music kind of takes me away from that. I want to let people know. We'll get into it a little bit more in a few minutes, but thetimjames.com, best place to get the book. It's right there. As soon as you click in there, there's a link right in the front there to buy it. So make sure you guys check that out. It's called Going Crazy, Left Foot, Right Foot, Breathe. And there's an incredible foreword on there by by Toby Keith as well.